He is definitely a member of the Atlantean family. And we, though, on the other end, will have Elias go first. But he will have to deal with that Charming Purulia thrown down in the standby phase of Elias. But Maliss is one of those decks that has at least the ability to not care about Purulia too much, and we do start off with a card that plays around it so perfectly well. Gold Sarcophagus, such an old card, but really so good in this Maliss deck, of course, still.
However, with the newest version of Maliss, you should adapt the combo, since both Hare and Secretary cannot special summon themselves. They can, but your opponent will draw a card.
Wouldn't recommend it. Gold Sarcophagus and Gold, actually very special card, because it was a prize card back in the day, and the first basically reprint for everyone to get it was in Gold. Not many cards have that feature. Just some random law, the most random law I could think of.
Crash Card Virus is another one, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah, there's a couple from back in the day.
I see a pattern with these prize cards.
True. Something more recent, something very recent actually though, is the Maliss deck toying around with different trap cards in the main deck.
Or no trap cards. Did you just see that White Rabbit?
Because probably Maliss are only on MT7 those days, and probably the set card that it has been hard draw is MT7.
But yeah, I mean, that's a big thing, right? Because I think last weekend, or no, it's actually 2 weeks ago now at this point for NAWCQ, people were on GWC again. Like, people were playing that card. I think for sure, Julian, for example, qualifying for North America, they used GWC for sure. But here in this list from Elias, he does not run it. It's only MTP or 7. So it's a very, very controversial decision in the Maliss player base at the moment. But Elias said, I don't need that GWC.
Maybe because it's a very low round tournament, the World Championship playoffs, and you cannot afford to break in any game. So probably it has make more consistency and has doesn't use GWC, since in a 12-round tournament you can afford to break once in a while, while in a 4-round tournament you cannot.
I can see that. I can see that, and now we're going to get Red Ransom back. I think we've chained the MTP to our Red Ransom.
And Julius looking sadly at that Purulia in his graveyard, truly not doing what it was supposed to do. Not the matchup you necessarily want to have it against. It's so good against Varisial decks in a room. It can be really good against Vanquish Soul too, even though that deck also has quite some features to play around it. But against Maliss, it's really, you do still want to include it probably, because it just makes them play differently. But they're able to just do such a big combo even without something from the hand, or something from the hand once. There is now an Ash Blossom and Joy Spring on the Chassis Cat, meaning though that Julius also is down to 3 cards only in his hand.
Yeah, I think if you're Ilias, you're fine with that. You get to combo off basically freely, and you know that...
Oh, normal summon! Julius gets a card.
That's interesting. I think we're going to the White Binder here. That would be the next logical step. Yes, you can banish the March Hare back. So the Purulia actually didn't do too bad of a job. You've got to draw a card, and your opponent has to adjust the combo, so it is slightly more fragile, I would think. Chassis Cat, such a good card that even though it doesn't play on its own, it's not your best starter, it is so important. Gets you so many draws throughout your day. I was going to say combo, but then I realized it's just 2 in your combo. But totally, this card super strong, and if your opponent ashes it mid-combo, that's so fine. Like, if I'm doing a combo, I would say I would rather activate the effect to discard 1 card of my opponent's hand than draw 2 cards if I'm already in the combo.
And also helps you play around a lot of hand traps. Is just normal summon Jessica to activate the effect, probably to bait an Ash or any perm, and then just going to link 1 and summon her.
Ooh, I was gonna say, where are we going with this?
That's it.
Because you can't use the March Hare from hand, you give up a draw, and if you go into Topologic Bomber Dragon, then you don't have it in hand anymore. Then you will have to use MTP without banishing anything.
To be honest, Bomber Dragon has been kindly off the meta right now, because many Maliss players do not respect anymore Chaos Hunter, which is a very big mind game for this tournament. Because if you know that Maliss players do not run anymore Bomber, you might bring back Chaos Hunter and catch people off guard.
Agreed. I like the Cyber's Wicked Bomber Dragon technology.
You're a big fan of that.
I love that.
You can't get your fingers off of it. You have been doing that non-stop.
It is definitely the coolest thing that the deck has done.
Speaking of cool, though, that Poseidra activating there. Not so cool, though, drawing the card that we discarded alongside it, because that's a card you rather want to special summon from the deck later on in your combo. That is the Butterfly Fish. Such a funny card, actually. But it will work as a discard here for the Poseidra nonetheless. The storming Atlantean storming onto the field, but Elias trying to figure out whether he immediately needs to find a response to that.
The thing is, I got a small peek into the hand of Elias, and it does look like there is a lot of non-engines, so maybe even...
So Elias just made a wonderful play, because now yes to ban his White Binder. Poseidra will be summoned without a valid target to activate its effect, and then White Binder will be summoned again from the banishment zone in order to draw a card.
That's so heads up by Ilias, honestly. That is really, really, really good.
I mean, as we said in the previous round, in order to be here in this tournament, you have to be one of the best 16 European players.
But now you're also giving up your banish from MTP.
Okay, Butterfly Fish back into the hand. I think it's still fine, though. Just giving Julius less chances to get those water monsters to the graveyard, I think, is a very, very smart thing to do.
Especially when you see that she discards a bad target for Poseidra.
That is a very, very good point. Now White Binder is going to activate here. Don't think you can get any more interactions out of this here, but Ilias also, what I also like about this, I've seen the Drone Lockbird in his hand and then getting rid of the MTP effect and the White Binder drop before your opponent searches anything. It's also huge if you can Drone Lockbird them.
Okay, we are now going to banish V-Red Ransom, and it will be coming back immediately after. The French community has been really, really, really big on the Maliss deck. We saw a lot of French players being very successful with the deck, so no surprise to me that Elias is playing it here in this tournament as well. He has been grinding with this deck throughout the entire year to get to enough points to be qualified for this playoff. And it does look pretty alright here in this first game of the second round. But now Julius always out of nowhere sometimes seems like he's able with this Mermail deck to just still overcome opponents' fields. He is really one of the best Mermail players on the planet, I want to say. Really has perfectionized playing this combo deck, knows the ins and outs of it, and therefore to me it was no surprise that he was bringing this again here for the playoff as well, which sometimes can be a little bit of a problem too though, right? When you're going into a 16-player tournament and everybody basically knows, hey, yeah, that guy is probably going to play Mermail again, of course you might be able to prepare before him, but there is now an Abyss Tears from Julius. Ooh, but there's Ash Blossom on it as well.
But we still haven't normal summoned yet, so maybe Julius with a Corral and Moni and another normal summon is able to do something here.
And also there are 2 level 7 water monsters on the field.
Yeah.
Very true. I mean, this seems like it could still go somewhere, and not to be disregarded, Elias is only on 4,100 life points. That is not a super comfortable situation to be in, because, let's face it, if you're not playing GWC, you're never gaining life points, so you are just lowering them consistently. Is that a battle phase? No.
That's actually a very valid point. Is it in the side deck?
No, it's not. It's just nowhere to be seen for Elias.
Oh, you have to play really quickly through the entire tournament then.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Julius really thinking this one through. He has the experience with this deck. He just recently, again, made top cut at German Nationals with this deck. He really has all the hours in with this deck. He made most of his points throughout this season with this deck too. And he wants to now, of course, make his ticket to the World Championship with this deck that is so close to his heart as well.
That is really funny. Abyss Stride usually is of lower attack than the Maliss monsters, but as Red Ransom points to the White Binder, you actually have a 2,800 attack beta.
Quite quickly, but there still is the March here in the graveyard of in the hand of Elias, right? That is still something we can probably work with. Elias. Oh, and there also is an Ibiru, the primal being. Okay, though, will be stopped by the Dominus Impulse from Julius. All right, is there maybe a world where Julius really, with so little cards, is able to get through this?
To be honest, Poseidra has an amazing effect going second.
Yeah.
So I really believe that Julius can have something in his sleeve in order to play around Ilias field.
The thing is, versus most decks, you really have to win the game. You can't leave them hanging on 100 life points and then give them another turn. Versus Maliss, especially without GWC, you just leave them super skill drained. They are mind drained, they are everything drained. They can't just use their effects anymore.
True, yeah, getting them very, very low. Like, usually the number where it gets critical is like 1,200. When you get them or in 1,200 or below, they at least will have to come up with something. But if you put them like even on 500, it's basically impossible to still get a real worthwhile combo out of the Maliss deck then. So it's really, it's a dangerous thing to just not play GWC overall. Let's see how well Julius can capitalize, and he's currently thinking about how to resolve the effect of that Poseidon Abyss, the Atlantean Dragon Lord.
That's, by the way, a bunch of cards in Ilias' hand. It's like 7 or 8.
Ooh, sends Shadow Squad.
Yep, and that is going to bounce the entire field here. Back to the extra deck as well, so can't even banish them out of the graveyard anymore. Summon Prince. That is looking good. We've already played around Nibiru, and now...
you know what, Leo? I think Ilias might have done some... The Nibiru might have been a moment too early, because imagine they resolve the Poseidra, put all of your monsters away from the field, and then when the Prince is on the field then at that point, before it can use its effect, you use the Nibiru, and you have no cards on the field, so they could have not used the Dominus Impulse from the hand.
100%.
Now, though, you're left really with no monsters at all, and you cannot use the Nibiru anymore. Therefore, Julius, all of a sudden, as he usually does, may be able to run away with this by now also summoning out the super ancient Deep Sea King Coelicant.
I think you're 100% on point there.
It just feels like that, and Julius really was happy that the Nibiru was used there. You could really tell he was so happy, immediately slamming down the Dominus Impulse to counter it on the spot. And now with still a bunch of water monsters left on the field, bringing back Abyss Rhine now.
And I think at this point, the good thing about Marcha for your opponent is that it's only going to be used in the main phase. So you can, at any point when you have game on the field, just say, hey, I want to enter battle phase, and then they have to use Marcha, and then you can still clear off everything. And now we have the Livier Dragon.
The Virtue Dragon.
The Virtue.
Oh, and it is using its effect as well. What are we trying to bring back here? Yeah, looks like the Prince is going to... Oh, there was a Droll and Lockbird.
Yeah. That was used on Prince Effect when Abyss Rhine was added to the
It's weird to see it so late, but now the Coelicant, and no response to that! We get to summon 3 monsters here if we like to. This is just escalating quickly, really. I feel like even if Ilias resolves the March here and gets like 2 to 3 monsters onto the field, it will not be very easy to stop him.
Especially with 4,000 life points on.
Look at that Platinum Rare Pike. Just sitting there in attack position. I think that Ilias was just reading about the Coelicant, if the monsters could attack. The thing is, I don't know for sure, but back in the day, there was a whole deck about Coelicant being a fish OTK, so I think...
They cannot attack now, because you had to always transition them into Synchro monsters.
And that's game.
Of course, the Bestials, they do a lot more than the DD Crow does, but they also have a restriction. Your opponent has to have monsters on the field. With cards like the Mitsurugi cards, you can play around Bestials, right? Like just tributing your Murakumo when you have nothing on the field.
Ilias, there's not that many traps he can set, because, as we said, there's no GWC, so... Okay, there is possibly an MTP set, though. That would be crazy if he drew the MTP again, though, and then he can't use White Rabbit once more. Now, the Dormouse bow, and I think I saw a card sparkling some interest there in the hand of Julius. Oh. Is there maybe the most feared card ever? It is Artifact Lancea from Julius, trying to shut down whatever this Maliss deck is trying to do.
As we mentioned in the first round, Maliss may be a very risky choice for this tournament, because obviously all the players will respect Maliss and bring side deck options like Lancea, Chaos Hunter, or even Meowls.
I mean, it has been a very feared card overall, right? It's risky to bring Maliss to any tournament, because Lancea and Chaos Hunter they don't leave you a lot of room to compensate with your skill. You can't just outplay Lancea. I mean, in Master Duel, people have started playing Speedroids just to put up something versus Lancea.
We're chaining, though. Yeah. That looks like a chain to the Artifact Lancea there. We drew the MTP again, searching for the March here, which will not be doing much else. Oh wait, oh no. Is the March here also?
From the hand, in order to go to splash mates and access the Grand Ransom in order to get
Hold on,
probably
so we
mirror.
didn't search for March here. We chained the March
Yeah.
here to the activation of MTP. Now searching for the Dormouse again.
For some nice follow-up. So I think we're going to try and set up a Malice in the mirror or just try to set up the MTP again with Whitebinder.
Oh, but Julius, does he have something else? Imagine now if Fuvalos on top of this. That would be
I think
crazy.
he has one, to be
Oh
honest.
my, Julius now with the Fuva 2. And you saw Elias when he saw that Fuvalos are also being dropped down. That makes things so much more awkward now. Because giving your opponent 2 draws against what you saw, what the Mermail deck can do, that doesn't feel great.
And Julius' hand wasn't good.
Nope.
He even got an Ash for the toys, which was basically the only play he had, but then he still ended up...
Oh, hold on though, that card
Wow.
might be able to still save us. I was talking about mistaken arrest, but there also is deck lockdown. Poseidon though might be immediately
With
the
infantry
answer to it.
that can
And there is
destroy
no
the deck
time
lockdown.
wasted. Julius with lightning speed takes the second game as well.